Hello and welcome to the History of Maritime Wrestling, Episode 8. I am the Maritime Warrior, and this week I will be covering Atlantic Coast Wrestling, a very short-lived promotion that was founded by Maritime Wrestling legend No Class Bobby Bass. Atlantic Coast Wrestling would be founded in 2002, and before the year was over, the company had already folded. They would be the biggest competition for real action wrestling, but would have mostly the same roster. Some of the maritime talents that would be in both Atlantic Coast Wrestling and real action wrestling would include Kingman, Big Steven Pettipa, Todd the Bod McPhee, Flesh Gordon, Buddy Lane, The Natural Bobby Roode, Cowboy Mike Hughes, Vinny Glide, Duke McIsaac, and the Wild Man, Gary Williams. Future WWE or TNA stars that competed for Atlantic Coast Wrestling would include Tracy Brooks, who is probably more famous for being in TNA. Also, there would be the original Sin, who competed for both WWE and TNA. In TNA, he would be a part of Father James Mitchell's Disciples of the New Church. He would team with Malice and Slash and would go by the name of Sin. In WWE, he would go by the name of Kizarni. He currently wrestles independently as Sin Bodhi. He has even made a return to the Maritimes when he wrestled for North Pro Canadian Wrestling. Atlantic Coast Wrestling would also bring in Frankie the Mobster from Quebec. Frankie the Mobster now wrestles independently under the name Beast King FTM. The big mainstream legend that Atlantic Coast Wrestling would bring in is future WWE Hall of Famer and former WWF World Tag Team Champion Jim the Anvil Neidhart. No Class Bobby Bass would be the manager of Kingman and Cowboy Mike Hughes, the Cardinal Sinners. To the best of my knowledge, Atlantic Coast Wrestling only had one championship. This was the Atlantic Coast Wrestling International Heavyweight Championship. And again, to the best of my knowledge, there was only one champion, that being the Natural Bobby Roode. There were two different championship belts used for the Atlantic Coast Wrestling International Heavyweight Championship. The first one was in the style of the Big Gold Belt, and the second one was in the style of the WCW United States Championship. On New Scott's YouTube channel, you can find full matches and even a handful of full shows of Atlantic Coast Wrestling. By 2003, both Real Action Wrestling and Atlantic Coast Wrestling had folded. Mainstream wrestling would continue on for another few years, but a lot of fans consider the folding of Real Action Wrestling and Atlantic Coast Wrestling to be the end of the second era of Maritime Wrestling. The Maritime Wrestling scene would be in rough shape for a few years, but they would bounce back. A very short episode. Like I said, this company started and ended in the year 2002. It probably won't be the last short episode. There are many companies in the Maritimes that started and ended as quickly as they started. But with that being said, thank you all very much for listening. I really appreciate your support, and I will see you next week.